As the main character of Netflix's Blue Eye Samurai, Mizu's mixed race and adeptness with a katana during Japan's Edo period might make viewers to question whether the strong and bold woman was a real person and whether the show itself is based on a true story. While many warriors' legacies were lost to time, there are plenty of samurai whose sacrifices have been well documented. While samurai culture has always resonated with audiences, it has typically been because of the violence and fight scenes in samurai movies, but Blue Eye Samurai aims to have an impact on the genre with a story that is as subversive as it is violent. The adult animated series follows Mizu, a half-Japanese, half-white female samurai masquerading as a man as she embarks on a quest to exact revenge on the Irishman who impregnated her mother years ago. The premise is original, and the story is fresh as Mizu navigates patriarchal structures and encounters an eclectic range of people who consciously and subconsciously help her discover new things about herself. As engaging and interesting as Blue Eye Samurai sounds, it begs the question of whether Mizu was a real person or if she was created specifically for the series. Blue Eye Samurai's Mizu was not based on a real person, but there was a famous blue-eyed samurai. He was Englishman named William Adams who led a life similar to that of Mizu's during the 17th century. Adams was a navigator who made his way to Japan on an expedition. He held the distinction of being the first Englishman to reach Japan and was responsible for introducing Western designs to Japan's naval vessels. After learning how to speak Japanese fluently, Adams eventually became the key advisor to Shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu, and swiftly found himself intimately involved with the country's politics. Because of his allegiance to and commitment to improving Japan's relations with Western nations, Ieyasu bestowed upon him 2 swords representing the authority of the samurai. Despite eventually being allowed permission to return to England, Adams stayed in Japan as he'd grown accustomed to the Japanese's way of life, and has since been considered one of the most influential Westerners in Japan. Blue Eye Samurai's other inspirations from Mizu explained. In an interview with Totem, Blue Eye Samurai creators Michael Green and Amber Noizumi described the show as an Edo period tale of revenge, thus implying that the show would have just as much violence in it as it has somber moments of reflection. Moreover, in the same interview, they revealed their daughter's blue eyes as being the biggest source of inspiration for Mizu. Also speaking to Totem, supervising director Jane Wu explained that her experiences as a woman navigating the male-dominated space that is Hollywood also inspired her. The strong and silent Clint Eastwood archetype and the 1973 film Lady Snowblood were also cited as influences on Blue Eye Samurai's protagonist and themes. As disconnected from one another as these various sources of inspiration might appear to be, they all contributed to making a show that looks and feels fresh. While Blue Eye Samurai's Mizu isn't based on a real person, the sources of inspiration are, and they added greatly to the creation of the unique animated show.